What's going on, you guys? My name is Sulkar, and this is my 2021 BMW M3 competition. What's going on, you guys? Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Sulkar, and I'm super excited to have you here. Today we've got my 2021 BMW M3 competition, and if you follow the channel, which you should, subscribe and like the videos, but if you followed it, you see the last video that I took delivery of this car about 3 weeks ago, and I was able to put about 600 miles on the car in that time. And yes, I agree, that's not that many miles, and yes, we're only gonna go over first impressions and what I think about it compared to my E92 M3, my F83 M4, and just other M cars that I've driven and just other cars that I've driven. So that being said, guys, let's just take a look at it real quick. Frozen dark gray, individual color on Kyalami orange bucket seats, carbon bucket seats. Watch the other video if you haven't already, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the car is. It's the first one in the United States in this color combination, and probably one of the only ones still at this time, just because I ordered it very early. I work with Elmhurst BMW, and they were able to give me their first allocation on an order, and that's what this car is. I ordered this car back in January. But with all of that stuff out of the side, the big thing is, how does it run? How does it drive? How does it feel compared to the F80 M3 I had before, the F83 M4 I have now, and the E92 M3 and all that stuff? So the number one thing I would say about this car is that it's huge. It's massive. Like, it's bigger than you think. It's like an M5 from the earlier generations, like E39, E60. It feels like an M5. Cars are obviously growing. Everyone's very familiar with the fact that that's happening. However, when you're parking in super tight parking spots, which I do living downtown, and just maneuvering the car over, you will understand that. Fortunately, you've got cameras in every single different direction. Obviously, you've got rear view cameras, you've got cameras on the mirrors, you got cameras on the front bumper, and all that good stuff. As far as options go on this car, I did get the specific wheels. It's a 20 in the rear and then 19 in the front. I did not opt for the carbon package. If you look right here, all these accents are gloss black, which personally I don't mind. If I ever want to do carbon fiber, I could do that aftermarket. Where I really wanted to spend my money on this car was on the interior. So stepping inside of my 2021 BMW M3 competition, you can obviously see the beautiful Kyalami orange carbon bucket seats and the full leather interior, which is super important to me. Now, if you watch my video on my M4, I didn't have it on my M3. I got it on my M4 used, but the M3 was new. So I optioned it without it, but then I found a used car with it, and I fell in love after that. Now, I know I make a big deal out of just having leather on the dashboard and the door cards, but I'm telling you, it's the single most important option on the interior of these cars. I would make sure I got that before I got the seats. The seats are a bonus, and that's something that I actually want to talk about. So the seats look beautiful. They feel amazing. And obviously, if you watched the last video on this car, you could see that it took me a little bit to get used to getting in and out of these seats. However, now that I've driven the car a bit, it's not really the biggest concern. Getting it out of the car is not that big of a deal. You get used to it. It's fun. It's an event. The only thing I will say is on those days where you're just tired and busy and doing whatever, it's not always the most comfortable car to get inside of, because once you're in here, you really always will have some sort of support. And if you've ever done a lat pull down in your life and have some sort of development here, you are going to feel the bolster on both sides, which most will argue is a good thing. And I would agree with you, but there's never a chill mode on these seats, which is okay. And there is bolster adjustment, but I keep mine as far and wide out as possible. I'm like 5'11" and 170 pounds ish. And that's how it feels for me. So consider your body dynamics before optioning these seats, because yes, they do look super, super, super sexy, but I don't want to make you guys hate your experience when you're inside of the car. So another important thing about this car to mention is the transmission. Now, if you want an M3 competition, you cannot get it in a manual, so you are stuck with the 8-speed automatic. But I will not say that that's a bad thing. At first, I was very, very hesitant about it. I do love the DCT transmission. I learned to really just love it over the years. I am a manual transmission guy, but after driving the newer cars, obviously the M3s and M5s, the F10, the F80, etc., I really start to learn to love the abilities and kind of the dynamics of the DCT transmission. So when they transferred over to this automatic 8-speed, I was super hesitant and reluctant, and when I drove the G80 non-competition in manual, I was like, oh man, that's a really cool transmission. But factoring all that stuff in, I really wanted to give this its best fair shot. Now, I drove one of these for a couple miles. It was brand new, so I wasn't able to really rip on it. So I really was kind of bored of the transmission really early. And I will say, this transmission is super duper boring. It drives like an automatic. It's fast, etc., etc., etc. However, when you do get on this car, and I can't redline it yet because it's not broken in, but when you do, and you rev it up to 6,000 and you shift through those gears in full drive, 3 all the way up, it's fast, and it's crazy fast to where it feels like you're like in an F1 car. The DCT trans will buck you, an SMG trans will buck you in the sense where you fly backwards. This trans won't, but it'll give you a different feeling of fast. And I will say it's so cohesive with the car that I think it's worth and at least giving it the time of day if you're considering it. And it's the most usable fast automatic transmission I've ever seen in a car. You've got dual clutch, which will give you a little bit of that manual trans feel and give you a little bit of clunkiness. SMG is super clunky, and then you've got all the way on the other spectrum, which is like an old school automatic, which is just, you know, automatic and boring. But this does give you the dynamics of both. It is the fastest paddle shifting I've ever seen in any car, and I do think it's worth at least, you know, give it its fair shot. That's all I could say. It's the only way you can get a G80 M3 competition, like I said, so you're going to have to live with it either way, but it's not bad. It's really kind of cool, to be honest with you. So underneath the hood of the G80 M3 competition, you'll see a 3-liter inline-6 twin-turbo motor that's shared obviously with the non-competition variant. However, this motor is tuned differently, so this one produces 503 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, and the other motor produces 473 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. Now, 3.8 seconds is super, super, super incredible for a sedan like this, and a lot of it has to do with not only the power delivery, but the transmission as well. And I can't speak highly enough about the rev range of this motor and just how well it pairs with the trans that we talked about. And it really makes for an amazing, dynamic daily driver. So sitting in the back of the G80 M3 competition, not only do you get an amazing amount of legroom and these beautiful competition package seat belts, but you get the most amazing view in the world. You can stick your hands right through here and tickle the passenger if you want to. And you get this beautiful Alcantara rim around here, and then the carbon fiber slab. It's just absolutely got Oliver laughing behind the camera because I want to tickle him. And you just can't go wrong. This car is literally so crazy from the. I'd rather sit back here than drive it, to be honest with you. It's just amazing. And then of course, getting right here, you got the ambient lighting as well. Harman Kardon, of course, just designation. The speaker system in this car is something, sound system rather, is something that we're gonna go over. We should probably just go over it now, to be honest with you. So if you watch any of my videos, you'll know I'm super into sound quality and systems in cars. And when I bought this car, I really wanted to hope it was the best system in the world. E92 M3, fantastic system. F83 M4 and the F80 M3, fantastic Harman Kardon system. And now coming to this car, it is Harman Kardon. It is really good. It's not the best. I'm not saying it's not better than the other ones, but it's not that loud. It has kind of a surround feel to it, and I do like that, but it could be better. It could be better. I'm just being real with you guys. I've tried every adjustment. I've plugged in cables different ways. It's solid. It's not some reason you should never buy this car, but it could definitely be. I don't know how to explain it. It just could be better, and I wanted to tell you guys differently. I wanted to fanboy over the sound system, but if you know you're a real audiophile or you really care, then maybe you should go with like a Bowers and Wilkins and like a M5 competition, which that sounds crazy. But this is the highest option you can get for the car as far as audio goes. It's not that bad, so don't think I'm overblowing. Like, it's not that bad. It's not uncomfortably loud. If you like uncomfortably loud, this is probably not the car for you, but it's loud enough, and I'm sure you'll like it just fine if you buy one of these things. So inside of the G80 M3 cockpit, you get all this beautiful leather and carbon fiber everywhere, which is important, obviously. In a new car, you want it to look good. You've got the LCD display, the beautiful steering wheel with M1, M2, and the carbon fiber package that makes all of this carbon fiber. Now looking down, you've got your different camera modes, your traction control, M mode, which changes the whole interior setup as far as the display goes, and a couple different other settings. You got your exhaust button, etc., etc., etc. Navigation, nothing out of the blue. The one thing I do love about this car is not the wireless charger, but it is the cup holders. If I had a cup right now to show you, I would put it in there and show you. But the old cup holders had no kind of adjustment, no way to kind of fit in cups. I know it's the littlest thing and it's stupid, but before you kind of have cups flop around. Now it's got these little, trifecta of grabbers in there, and whenever you put a cup in there, it fits ultra tight. So that's what you want. You want to keep it as tight as possible if you're going to be driving around and drinking some kind of beverage. That's the beauty of the M3. You want a car you can drive but also live with. Grab a coffee in the morning, preferably black and iced, like we do here on the channel. As far as power goes, you got a USB port right here, so you could just lay your phone in there and tuck it in. And you've got different USB-C ports in here for fast charging. You could rip the thing off your iPhone, that comes with your iPhone rather, and just stick it in there, and you've got a nice fast charging option. Otherwise, there's not too much going on here. Obviously, the buttons are very nice. The iDrive is very nice. We'll go over that in future videos, but there's nothing completely out of the ordinary. The one thing you will learn very quickly with this car is that if you run it past like 40 miles or 30 miles to empty, you will not be able to run the car past 4,000 RPM, which was a random thing. I thought it was because the car was new, but that's not the case. So little stupid fun fact, and I hope that you know that you shouldn't be panicking. Just go get more gas. So all of the color, interior, and usability stuff aside, this is literally one of the best, if not the best car I have ever driven. I love how the other M3s drive. They're all tight and cool in their own way, but something about this car being just a nice, perfect chassis with amazing electronic steering, it's insane. And obviously I'm gonna put way more miles on this car. I'm gonna get it through the break-in period, and that's gonna be the next video of you guys kind of being updated with redlining the car, doing a lot of different fun stuff with it. But like I said, I wanted to give you my first impression. So far, so good. There are some things, like I said, I'm not crazy about. I'm still trying to find the angles on this car that I like, as far as, just kind of dynamics for photos or just generally looking at the car. But I do think it's a cool car. I do think a lot of people are going to do a lot of sweet things as far as the tuning and downpipe realm and all that good stuff, which would be cool to explore for sure. But I'm going to focus on putting more miles on it. So in the next video, we're going to be doing a full expel stealth job on the front clip of this car, because the frozen dark gray metallic paint cannot be repainted very easily or touched up or buffed. And it's kind of making the driving anxiety of this car high, and I want to just get rid of all that. So only 600 miles so far, no real notable chips to go over, but I want to prevent any future ones, and that's something I would recommend on any car if you're going to buy it brand new. Not for the value even, mainly just for the ability to drive it. I drive on the expressway every day, so that's important. But guys, overall, I've been super happy with this car so far. There are some things that aren't the most crazy to me as far as spending this much money on a car. However, the car market's super hot right now. I paid retail for this car. I can't complain about it, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for me and this car. Am I going to keep it my whole life? Absolutely not. But am I going to give you guys a bunch of awesome videos on it, or slightly awesome videos on it? Absolutely. I'm going to try my best to do so. So with that being said, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you like this car and everything that it represents. But we've got a lot more driving to do with this car, and I'm super excited to keep you guys posted on all things G80 M3 and all the other previous generations as well. It's something I'm super duper passionate about. I love BMWs, and I love comparing them all and seeing what the best one is. And stay tuned for that video, because I'm actually really excited to make that and drop some facts on all the community out there. But as always, guys, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you did not. Subscribing would mean the absolute world to me. You can follow me on Instagram at Kyle Sulkar for all my personal stuff, and you can follow me at Sulkar Media for all the behind the scenes and all of our agency stuff there. But as always, guys, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Yeah.